Hello, my beloved friend. Today I want to speak into the ache that you may have carried silently for months, maybe for years, maybe for as long as you can remember. An ache that doesn't come with a label or a return address. A homesickness for something that you cannot describe with human language. A pull toward a place you have never touched, toward a light you have never seen with your physical eyes, but that your spirit recognizes as if it remembers it from before time itself. Because before you were ever born, God spoke over you, God breathed His life into you, and He placed within your soul the memory of eternity. And that is what is awakening inside you right now. You feel it not because you are broken, but because you are alive to something greater than this chapter. And Romans 8:22 reminds us, "For we know that the whole creation has been groaning together in the pains of childbirth until now." And your own spirit is groaning with that same anticipation, because something new is being born in you. You have walked faithfully. You have done your best to stay grateful, to stay disciplined, to stay focused. But there is still a mismatch in the details of your days. Like your life is a coat you have outgrown, tight in the shoulders, short in the sleeves, no longer able to cover what you have become. That is not ingratitude, that is growth. That is the Spirit of the living God, whispering that there is more. You are not delusional, you are not imagining it. This is not confusion, this is holy activation. Deuteronomy 1:6 recalls when the Lord spoke to Israel at Horeb. You have stayed long enough at this mountain, and maybe that is exactly what He is saying to you. You have stayed long enough in a season that was once good, but now cannot contain who you are becoming. This is why you feel restless. This is why the foods that once satisfied your soul now taste bland. This is why the conversations that used to feel comfortable now feel noisy. This is why your routines that once held you together now feel like cages. And no, it is not because you have failed. It is because you have outgrown. Just as the Israelites could not remain in Egypt after God whispered of a promised land, you too cannot remain in the same cycles when God has marked a new territory for your spirit. Joshua 1:9 declares, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened and do not be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go." That promise is for you as much as it was for Joshua stepping into unknown land. So understand this. The tension you feel right now is evidence that your body is still walking in an old chapter, but your soul is already standing in the next one. That ache you have been calling restlessness is actually the distance between where you are and where God has already positioned your spirit. It is not a map coordinate, it is a frequency of life, a reality that fits, a divine rhythm that aligns with your true identity. And that is why you cannot get comfortable here, because you are not meant to stay. Philippians 3:13-14 says, "Forgetting what lies behind and straining forward to what lies ahead, I press on toward the goal for the prize of the upward call of God in Christ Jesus." That is exactly what your spirit is doing, even when your body is still catching up, pressing forward toward the upward call. Some of you will literally relocate, finding yourselves in new cities, new communities, new opportunities, doors opening in ways that seem impossible now, but will be undeniable when they arrive. For others, the relocation will be internal, a shift in identity, a shedding of labels that never truly belonged to you. A revelation that the life you have been living is too small for the fullness of who you are in Christ. Not because your life was bad, but because it no longer fits. The old you, the one who was still proving, the one who was still surviving, the one who was still rehearsing old wounds, needed that chapter. But the you who is emerging no longer does. And so you hear the whisper that will not stop. It is time. And though you try to quiet it with gratitude, lists and daily routines and reminders of how good you have it, your soul has already started traveling. Hebrews 11:8 tells us, by faith Abraham obeyed when he was called to go out to a place that he was to receive as an inheritance, and he went out not knowing where he was going. That is what this season feels like. You know you cannot stay, even if you do not yet know where you are going. You are walking by faith, And friend, that is holy. Do not ignore the ache. Do not dismiss the longing. Do not convince yourself to stay in a room that your soul has already left, because what you feel as emptiness is actually the clearing out of space for something real, something divine, something aligned. Isaiah 54:2 says, enlarge the place of your tent, stretch your tent curtains wide, do not hold back. Lengthen your cords, strengthen your stakes. God is enlarging your territory, and the ache is part of that stretching. The reason you no longer have a taste for what once filled you is because you are being prepared for a feast you have never seen. The reason familiar places feel foreign is because you are being weaned off the old so you can step into the new. The reason relationships feel strained is because your spirit refuses to shrink itself to fit conversations that no longer match your calling. That is not destruction, that is construction. When God moves you, he often begins by making the old place uncomfortable. In Genesis 12:1, the Lord said to Abram, go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you. Notice, he did not even tell Abram the full destination, only that it was time to move. And sometimes that is all you will get, a nudge, a whisper, an ache. But that is enough, because where you are going is not just a slightly improved version of your past. It is not just a cleaner room with the same silence. It is not just a shinier version of old cycles. Where you are going requires a new wineskin for the new wine God is pouring into you. This is why some friendships are fading. This is why old roles no longer feel right. This is why you feel the urge to declutter, to reset, to let go of what no longer serves you. John 15:2 tells us that God cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit he prunes, so that it will be even more fruitful. You are in the pruning season, not because you are failing, but because you are being prepared to bear more fruit. Yes, it may hurt. Yes, you may grieve. Yes, you may feel like you are losing, but understand this. God never prunes without a harvest in mind. When God relocates you, it often happens in phases. First, the inward stirring. Your spirit quietly stops agreeing with the environment around you. Second, the outward disruption. Doors that used to open no longer do. Routines that used to sustain you now collapse. And finally, the divine opportunity, a door so precise, so undeniably aligned that you will know heaven itself cleared the path. And then you will understand that the ache was never punishment. The longing was never confusion. It was direction. It was a holy compass pointing you toward elevation. And for many of you, that season is already dawning. You will soon encounter people who understand you without translation, communities where your presence is not tolerated but celebrated, spaces where your gifts are not reduced but released, places where your peace is not a struggle but a foundation. Psalm 84 verse 5 says, "Blessed are those whose strength is in you, whose hearts are set on pilgrimage." You are on pilgrimage, my friend, not wandering without purpose, but walking toward destiny. And when you arrive, you will breathe differently, you will stand taller, you will laugh not just from your throat, but from the depths of your soul. And here is the miracle: you will not have to force it, because divine relocation does not require striving, it requires surrender. Proverbs 3:5-6 teaches, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight." This is about trusting the whisper over the noise, the ache over the false peace, the pull of the Spirit over the comfort of old agreements. There is a place, a season, a chapter, an assignment where you will no longer feel like a guest in your own story, and it is not far. But before you can walk into it, God must free your hands from what you are still clutching. Even the good things, even the stable things, even the relationships you thought were permanent. Because the next chapter is not just about blessing, it is about alignment. There is an ecosystem of people, opportunities, and provision waiting for you that will sustain you, so you no longer have to beg for energy, fake your joy, or carry the weight alone. And when you step into it, you will understand that the ache was never about escape. It was always about arrival. Arrival into a life that reflects your true design, not just what the world sees, but what God declared over you before you were born. Jeremiah 1:5 says, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." That is why this ache has been holy all along, because it is tied to the eternal identity God has given you. So do not panic when the shaking begins. Do not resist when the old systems collapse. Do not apologize for needing more clarity, more alignment, more purpose. Because where you are going will not just fit you, it will restore you. It will not just challenge you, it will expand you. It will not just accept you, it will honor you. And when you walk through the door God is about to open, Revelation 3:12 promises, "The one who is victorious I will make a pillar in the temple of my God. Never again will they leave it." That is home. That is destiny. That is alignment. You were never lost, friend. You were being led. Led by the ache, led by the whisper, led by the hand of the one who sees the end from the beginning. So lift your head, strengthen your heart. The ache has done its work. The compass has pointed the way, and the door is